Hello, my name is Chad, and welcome to the ImpromptCast, episode number 3. Today I have a special guest for the third time, Alex Weaver.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Glad you're on again too, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
What's been new?
I've just been busy, man.
Yeah.
Between massage and just doing stuff around the house and just trying to keep up with that. On my downtime, it's been very gratifying to be able to hang out with my best friend Chad.
Dude, I've been trying to live in life to my fullest, man.
All day, every day.
Hanging out with you too. I love it.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely.
You
can't beat it.
Yeah. We should go ghost hunting sometime again.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I mean, like, once in a while we're out there, we get some really creepy stuff. Like, that one time when we heard the owl, and I freaked out, because it was just some weird noise in the woods.
I mean, it's usually the things you aren't expecting that freak you out the most. Like, we're there for hunting ghosts, you'd think, like, oh, I mean, like, you can't really get any creepier than that, but it's like, those little things like that come up in the middle of the night. It's like, it already makes something that's already really freaky that much more just very it made it that much harder to be there. Like, I knew it's just it's just a wild animal and it's way off that way. It's not gonna bother us, but it's just like sort of adds to the element of what is already like a really creepy, unsettling atmosphere.
Yeah, like I figured it was probably a wild animal, but like I didn't know what it was exactly. I just right now, after discovering it's an owl, I kind of feel like a scaredy cat because I'm out there just like, yo, let's go ghost hunting. All of a sudden, like, owl goes, ooh, I'm just like, let's go back to the car.
I think it's just kind of like, just like things that you aren't expecting. We're already, in an environment that's, maybe not that friendly for, living human beings.
Yeah.
To be intruding on the dead. And then, you throw that in the mix, and it's like, whoa, it's just got a little more serious now. Somebody clearly doesn't want me here.
Yeah. Oh, talking about that, what do you think would be your most paranormal experience while we were ghost hunting?
While we were ghost hunting?
Yeah.
When we had the radio, the frequencies, going through all the frequencies as to try to pick up the voices, like paranormal activity. For the audience out there, like, has never been like ghost hunting before, we have like a quick FM radio scanner which is supposed to help like pick up like higher frequencies and like be able to isolate voices, like if there's a ghost.
Yeah,
be able to ask it questions, like just throw out questions like they're like, who are you, are we alone in this place, and we're supposed to listen in for like some sort of response. And sometimes we'll get like something like that's a clear answer, like that's pertinent to what we were talking about, something that's could be a straightforward yes or no. But then sometimes we'll get something that might be a little bit more specific and a little bit more maybe a little bit more of a very direct response that's not as vague or as ambiguous as just a simple yes or no. I've heard leave before. I've heard names before. I've heard sentences form before.
Yeah, I've kind of like I've go back and forth about that thing because like it's a box. It's called a spirit box because it's like you're saying it goes through the FM radio very fast.
Yeah.
And allegedly ghosts can like manipulate the voices and like make a sentence through the FM radio, like flipping through the stations very fast. I think sometimes it's just like I don't know, like personally for me, I just feel like it's not supernatural, but like it's something unknown, so like I can't be like, yeah, that's not ghost, but like it's still like terrifying when you're out in the middle of the woods and all of a sudden like the thing that a ghost can talk through allegedly tells you to leave. That's like...
That's your cue to get out.
It's like...
No more questions. We're done.
Even if, like, you know, if I was under the impression that ghosts do not 100% exist, chances are I'm probably leaving right away. Because...
Ghost Boy told me.
Man.
Ghost Boy don't want me here.
Dude, I'd say... Because most of the time when I'm ghost hunting out there, I'm with you and Will. One of the more terrifying experiences was when I was with Will. I don't think you were there. And there was like... I saw what appeared to be a shadow of a man run between two cemeteries. Not two cemeteries, but two gravestones. And I thought, you know, maybe it was my imagination. And I looked at Will, and I was like, did you see that? And he looked at me, and he was like, dude, you're not supposed to say that. Because I saw that too. And I was like...
That's what makes it worse.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I was really hoping you were going to say, like, no, I didn't see that.
You confirmed my suspicions and my fears.
Yeah.
That's just worse.
I'm pretty sure he said this on a video when we were doing What We Believe with me and Will on the Notorious 14. He said that he saw what appeared to be a man in a military uniform standing above a gravestone. So, like, dude, that is just, like, terrifying.
It's pretty specific, too.
Yeah, it's, like, you know...
It doesn't sound like something you'd make up at all.
When
like,
you
I wouldn't.
When you hear stories like this from, like, different people, like, that you don't know, and you can, like, kind of, like, try to, like, brush them off and be like, yeah, you know, you're just seeing things out there. But when you hear it from, like, you know, one of your best friends, like, when you're saying, you know, that ghost box saying leave, it's like, dude, it gets a little unnerving because it's like, I know you're not going to lie to me.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's a little bit more terrifying. So, yeah.
There's always at least one instance where I get creeped out whenever we go out ghost hunting.
What's that?
There's always like one thing that happens, and it's usually with that scanner.
Yeah.
Because I'll hear something, and they're usually, I mean, like I said, I mean, sometimes it'll be a pretty direct word, and I'm not like a straightforward, simple yes or no.
Yeah.
Like I'll pick up things like leave is one that I've heard multiple times. I've heard no, don't, or I have, or, you know, but I can't pick up anything else. But
yeah, there's that one time we were there when I think it was just me and you, and we're using the spirit box with a method I learned about called the SC Spirit Method, I think. And it's like where you use headphones, and so you can't hear you can't hear the person asking the questions. And I think when I was asking questions, you're on the spirit box, like almost answering the questions as I was asking them. And that was kind of weird because I knew you couldn't hear me because I kept saying your name. We're like, hey, dude, can you hear me? saying dumb things like, hey, your mom's calling, here's your phone. Yeah. And you can't hear me, so yeah, it's just weird and unnerving. So
well, on that topic, have there been any weird paranormal creepy things that you remember, happenings or sightings?
For me, outside of ghost hunting, in my personal life, I've only had maybe one time where I thought maybe that could have been a ghost, and I was up in Mackinac City. And Mackinac City is supposed to be very haunted, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, were with my mom, and we're in a store, and we're going upstairs, and me being kind of a dork, I pretended like I was falling backwards, and I felt the shoulder grab like not a shoulder, but a hand to grab my shoulder and squeeze and push me up. And I thought, maybe it was a dude behind me thinking I was actually falling. I looked behind me, nobody was there. It was just weird. Like, I don't know.
Feeling things like that, that stuff that now it creeps me out, is I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But you clearly felt it. It wasn't something like, that's something, seeing things, sometimes it's like, did I really see that or did I just imagine it? But you can't fake that.
Yeah.
Feeling someone touching you. That's very, yeah, that's pretty freaking scary, man. I've dealt with off the top of my head, there's one thing that happened in my childhood that is kind of more on the side of something that I saw that has kind of stuck with me for a long time. But when I was little and I was living downstate, we lived in a pretty closely knit suburban little cul-de-sac neighborhood. So our neighbors were pretty close. We just had like a little fence to kind of like a little fenced-in yard, and our neighbor was like right across from us. It's kind of an odd little duck. He always seemed like there's something about him that just kind of put me off. It's like,
yeah.
I was only like in middle school at the time, but there's just something about him that I did not like, and I never really had any conversation with him before. But it was one night, like it was a school night. I was getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth. I went back into my room. I had a little light on in the corner. There was just enough light so that I could see like out my window. It wasn't overly bright in the room, but I walked into my room, and I could see somebody looking directly through the window into my room.
Oh, dude, that's terrifying.
It was, I couldn't really make out what the face was like, but, it was like a very serious, intense, straight at me. Like, this person had to have known this was my room because they were looking at me. And, it was not even that long. It was probably like 2 seconds, and I was about to, I was like, first, like, what's going on? And then they just disappeared.
Yeah.
I was, like, just shocked. I don't think I realized, like, only now I realize just how creepy and messed up that actually was, like, 20 years after the fact. But, it's something that to this day is, like, I have a real phobia of looking out windows, especially at nighttime when you can't really see what's out there.
Yeah, same. Dude, that just gives me shivers. Thinking about that.
I have a couple of windows in my bedroom. Like one that's, if the lighting is just right, the moon is coming in, the light. The moonlight comes in through the bedroom, and then if my door to my bathroom is open just right, it'll look like there's somebody standing in my doorway.
Yeah.
I know there's not, but like your subconscious mind will tell you, yes, there is. And I think it all has to come back to like that one, that thing. It's something I don't talk about like at all.
Yeah.
It's just not something you talk about like in general conversation. Oh, so you have any messed up things you're trying to repress from your childhood that have stuck with you for 20 years?
Yeah. That's a good small talk to talk.
Yeah. It's just, but yeah, just on that topic, yeah, that is, I'm sure that I'm not the only person that's dealt with something like that though.
Yeah.
It's just, it may be a little childish, maybe a little just immature, or just a little weird that I still have this kind of strange thing about sleeping in the dark, or looking out, having, darkness like out around me, like at nighttime, looking out my windows.
Yeah.
I even looking out like my big window or my big beautiful cherry blossom tree, and there's all these different shades of like pinks, magentas, fuchsias. It's in little, it's got little white little petals, and it's so cool to look at. It's just gorgeous. And then, it's done blooming for the year, and all the, the little flowers fall off, and then you get to like those dark nights in winter, and I look out my window, and it looks like this giant person with long, scraggly arms, is gonna break into my window. It's honestly, it's a very real feeling, but it's, maybe that's just because there's this old movie called Poltergeist. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like this horror.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it though.
Yeah, it's like, it's a classic. It's like a horror supernatural movie. It's was it I don't know if it was who's the guy? The classic horror guy.
Classic.
I'm not sure if it was one of
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it was Spielberg. Okay. But it was, there's a scene in the movie where the little boy is looking out his window, and he's got this giant dead oak tree in his backyard, and it comes to life, and it rips through his window and grabs him and starts eating him alive. So maybe,
that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, that's just part of the movie. It's one of those supernatural paranormal activity kind of movies. Before the whole thing caught on, there was that movie.
Yeah.
But so maybe that kind of plays into it. But it's, I have a very, very real feeling of like, there's,
dude, what?
It's hard for me to look out my windows at night.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't like looking out windows at night either. It's like one of my top fears. One time I was on the couch, and I fell asleep watching some YouTube, and I had a nightmare that somebody was looking at me through the window. It terrified me.
Like it was a dream, or it
was a nightmare. But like
that's really hard, because then that almost like blurs the reality of the situation. Like, did that really happen? Did I dream it, or did that actually happen?
That's how I felt too. I woke up and I was like, did that really happen, or like, was I dreaming?
It probably did.
I don't think it did. I don't think any of my neighbors would stop and look out the window, like look through a window.
Well, I'll tell you, when I wake up from that, I would not fall back asleep.
Yeah, I didn't fall back asleep. I shut the windows and I locked the doors.
Yeah.
Well, my door was locked. I locked the windows.
No doubt.
Shut everything, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to bed, and hopefully when I wake up in the morning time, everything's good. But yeah. I don't like it. I don't like looking through windows at night. I'm with you on that. We can go ghost hunting anytime, as long as there's no windows and we have to look through them.
So that means we're not staying in any hotel. Perry Hotel is off the table.
We can, but we gotta shut that window. Make sure, like,
I think that it's mostly like activity like inside.
Yeah.
Like outside, but inside.
True. Like I also think that it's a certain hotel room in the Perry Hotel that's actually haunted, and we should try to get it and go there. I think it would be really fun.
Question is, can we take our equipment?
I think, as long as we're renting the room, I don't think they'll really care. But it's more like, are we allowed to record?
Right.
Because it's on their premises.
That's kind of what I was driving at.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd love to, man.
We should just ask.
There's quite a history behind it.
Yeah.
Paranormal activity in the room.
Yeah, I think they have a whole book of people having paranormal activity. And if you ask for it at the desk, they'll give it to you.
There's stuff that goes on in my mom's workplace at this women's resource.
Yeah.
They say that there's this little girl in white that's going up and down the halls.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And the girls have said we've seen her. We've heard her. We've seen her. Like, more than quite. It's quite a long line of women who've said this. So.
But I saw
I don't have any doubts about the legitimacy of there being a supernatural being there whatsoever.
I don't know what it is about like poltergeist taking the form of like a small child in a white. You know what I'm talking about? Because like there's reports in like different in a church, I think in the neighborhood, that had a ghost child walking around the hallways in a white dress. I'm pretty sure. Which is kind of weird. And there's like different tales I remember around Michigan where they like have a small child. Well, like the legend says a small child is walking around the area in a dress or a white suit or something like that. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, there's this.
That like so many different things like that have something in common.
There's that cemetery down by Ann Arbor, the girl in white.
Yeah.
Like people have gotten like it goes around like there's like this really tight curve going around this old cemetery, and people have like literally like gone into a ditch or gotten like in a major accident going around that curve because they've seen her thinking, oh my god, I'm about to hit this little girl. And it's that supernatural being.
That's so weird. We should go there. Let's go.
Okay.
I'll drive around the curve. Make sure you're wearing your seatbelts. Yeah. I mean, I think even the cemetery we went to, Fox Tower Cemetery, had allegedly people have seen a small girl in a white dress. Which I don't know if like. I feel like sometimes people, like, I'm not saying a majority of them are, but like sometimes when people want to make up a ghost story, they say, the very stereotypical ghost, which is like, somebody in a white dress or something like that. But at the same time, I think a lot of them are pretty legit too. So.
I mean, there's multiple accounts, multiple people at,
Yeah.
Just that little house, where women stay, just to a place, just a little safe place for them to stay.
Yeah.
There's that hallway, between like 3 different rooms, and it all seems to be like the same time, like 4 or 5 o'clock at night. They'll go get a drink or something. They'll step out of the room, and then they'll say, "Hey, this happened." Oh yeah, that's the little girl. That is We've heard her. We've seen her. We can't really say for sure who it is, but you're not the only one. So,
yeah.
Just to be like that, like, oh yeah, that happened, like not knowing the history behind it, just be like,
yeah,
I did see this. I did hear this little girl, and the story and the description all matches.
Yeah, that's like when you have like multiple people confirming on one like sighting, or like describing the same thing over a period of days. It's kind of strange, weird. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode of the ImpromptCast, episode number 3. And Alex, thank you so much for coming on.
That's my pleasure. I was glad to come along. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Definitely should have you back on. So,
100%. Yeah.
Until the next episode.
All right. Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.